All right, the time has come. The NFL playoffs are here. It is Wildcard Weekend, one of my favorite weekends of the year. And there's 6 games on this slate. I got 4 money picks for y'all. We started the season off hot, going 4-0 in week 1. I'm 5-0 in the last 2 weeks to end the season. My point in saying that is we're going to finish the season the same way we started it. We got all the data in the world on these teams at this point in the year, and we're going to use that to our advantage. So let's get into it. First game up, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are laying 9.5 points at home. You guys see the total. It's a low total sitting at 42. This is a home game for San Francisco. I live in the Bay Area. It is 100% going to be raining on Saturday. We're going through a major storm right now. So it's just going to be an ugly, kind of low-scoring game. A lot of running the ball. Pete Carroll, you know Pete Carroll is going to play it safe. Pete Carroll has Geno Smith on the leash. They run the ball on first and second down. Geno maybe does a play action or maybe throws it on 3rd and 4 or something like that. San Francisco 49ers, Shanahan's going to be smart about how he uses Purdy. He's going to let Purdy get the opportunity to sling it, but more likely than not, Purdy is going to rely on the run game to kind of carry him throughout the course of that ball game. So this isn't going to be like a super exciting game to watch, in my opinion. With the 9.5 points, I would lean Seattle. I would take Seattle in this spot if I had to take a side, just because all the trends point towards backing Seattle here. It's 9.5 points in a division rivalry game. Carroll knows Shanahan really well. Carroll actually has a lot of success against Shanahan. That's kind of how the NFC West goes. Carroll owns Shanahan. Shanahan owns McVay. And McVay kind of owns Carroll. It just kind of spins around like that. I just can't fully get behind Seattle because, I don't know, there's just such a gap in talent here, and I don't really know how many tricks Carroll can pull up his sleeve to save Geno, because in my opinion, Geno Smith is not good. Like, Geno Smith is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. I can't say that because we saw so many horrible quarterbacks this season. There was so much bad quarterback play this year, so many backups who had to start because there was injuries to the starter. But out of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL, there's not many quarterbacks who I would take Geno over them. Like, I would take almost any starting quarterback in this league when healthy over Geno Smith. I just don't think that highly of Geno Smith. I know that he kind of resurrected his career this year, but going against this Niner team, he struggled both times against them, and I don't really see it getting any better on the road. Like, the Niners are just in a prime spot to just dismantle this Seahawks team, and what the Seahawks want to do is run the football and like let Geno get the opportunity to take it deep, but the Niners play that very well. Like, the Niners might have the best defense in the NFL. I mean, I would say that they do. So this is a really tough spot. If you take Seattle, I respect it. It's probably the sharp side, but this is just a really tough game, and I would stay away from it. It's probably the hardest game on the board, in my opinion. Next game up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are plus 2.5 at home. We got a home dog, and I'm telling you guys, this is the first money pick of the week. It might be my favorite pick of the week, the Jaguars as home dogs. I just think Peterson's going to run circles around Brandon Staley. I think Brandon Staley is going to get in his own way, might go for it on 4th down and hurt his team, just do something dumb. We know that Lombardi, the play caller for the Chargers, he relies a little too heavy on Justin Herbert. They don't run the ball well. They don't defend the run either. I think Peterson's just going to be able to just pull this one out. Like, we look at the total, 47.5. This just feels like a 24-20 game where Jacksonville is able to win this game outright as dogs. It just feels like Trevor Lawrence, he gets the ball out of his hands so quickly. He's going to hit guys quick before Joey Bosa and them can get to him. Peterson's already game planning for that. ETN is going to run the ball well. The Chargers aren't going to be able to stop the run. They let you run the ball because they don't want you to throw it. They do a good job of stopping the passing game, but I think Lawrence is going to be able to game manage and just hit the check downs and just run the ball well. Lawrence is going to get out of the pocket and scramble a little bit. This matchup really bodes well for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they crushed the Chargers earlier this year. So we see a good line movement. We see it moving from the Jaguars as big dogs on the road. Now we see them playing each other again. It's 2.5 at home. So it's showing a lot of strength towards the Jaguars. I know at the time when they whooped the Chargers that Justin Herbert was banged up. And look, I love Justin Herbert. He's probably my favorite quarterback in the NFL, one of my favorite players in the league. I've been high on him since the moment that he played his first game for the Chargers. But I just think that they're asking for a lot out of him. I mean, Justin Herbert, I mean, he's not a superhero. He's a really good player, but he's not a superhero. I don't think that he can overcome the situations that they're going to put him in. And once again, the Jags just have the better defense. They're at home. They have the better coach. And the quarterback play, as much as I love Herbert, Trevor Lawrence has been amazing in the second half of the season. So I think he's going to be able to go toe for toe with him. And I just think that he's going to have an easier time than Herbert is. Herbert isn't going to make this easy. That's why I said Jaguars win maybe 24-20 or something like that, because Herbert isn't going to make it easy. He's going to be slinging it. I've always said one of the most impressive performances that I've seen is Herbert in that last game of the season against the Raiders last year, when the Raiders were able to beat them in overtime and go to the playoffs. I just thought that game, like Herbert just wouldn't go down, and he was just competing at the highest level. Like what he was doing was just phenomenal. But I just think it's going to be a little too much for him. I think Brandon Staley gets the boot after this game, doesn't make the playoffs last year, and then this year loses to the Jags. I think he gets the boot, and then they bring Sean Payton in. And I think Sean Payton, Justin Herbert, with like Vic Fangio as the D coordinator, I think they turn this team around and take it from like a playoff, like borderline playoff team, to a team that could potentially win the AFC West next year and maybe contend for a Super Bowl. Like, I just think Sean Payton with Justin Herbert would just do like wonders for this franchise. It would take it up another level. And I just feel like that's what's going to happen. That's where I'm at this point in the year with the Chargers. I just don't really like what they have going on. They are getting healthy, but I just don't see them being able to put it all together. And even if they win this game, isn't this going to be a close game? Like, to cover 2.5, this game's going to be close. The Chargers might win by a field goal late, but Jacksonville's definitely going to cover. I would take Jacksonville to cover this game, and if you want to be greedy, you could sprinkle the money line a little bit. Next game up, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins are plus 13.5 on the road. Not a lot to say about this game. We know the Buffalo Bills are playing inspired football with the Damar Hamlin situation. I'm glad that brother's okay. There's just not a lot to say. Skylar Thompson for the Miami Dolphins isn't that good. The Bills at home, they play up-tempo. They kind of get whatever they want on offense as long as Josh Allen isn't being dumb and careless with the football. That's probably the only reason why I can't officially take the Bills. If you guys see me end up taking the Bills when I post my plays on Twitter and Instagram, if you guys see me end up taking the Bills, please comment and tell me how much of a degenerate that I am, because you're a degenerate if you're taking the Bills at minus 13.5. I mean, I want to join the party. I want to take the free money that everybody's collecting. I know everybody's going to have the Bills in some type of teaser money line parlay, even though you really shouldn't. It's minus 800. But in some kind of teaser money line parlay, a lot of people are going to take them on the spread, just thinking that this game will be over before it starts. But, the Bills' defense has been a little questionable, and Skylar Thompson got the backdoor cover against the Patriots a couple weeks ago. Josh Allen, a little careless with the football, throw interceptions in the red zone. I just don't really know if I want to lay 13.5 in a game where the Bills know that they're going to win this game. So just how focused are they going to be from start to finish? I mean, I know that they're going to be amped up with the Damar Hamlin whole situation and with the playoffs starting. I know that they're going to be amped up to start. The first half, they're probably going to come out really strong. But I just don't know if I can trust them to stay laser focused the whole way through. 13.5, that backdoor cover is just wide open. Look, the Bills annihilated the Patriots, another AFC East team, last year in the first round. I just don't really want to lay this many points. It's a low total. When you see a low total, you kind of want to take the big dog because they're telling you that it's going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out game. But maybe they're saying that the Dolphins just aren't going to score at all and that the scoring is just going to be done by Buffalo. So if you take Buffalo minus 13.5, I get it. And if you take the Dolphins plus 13.5, I don't get it, but I understand just on a numbers perspective. You're like, hey, I'm going to get the back door here, and I'm fading the public, but I don't really like making a bet just off of things like that. So not a lot of strong thoughts in this game. This game is tough, just like the Seahawks and Niners game is to me. I would say that, if I had to, I would lean Bills here, where with the Niners and Seahawks, I can't even call it. Next up, we got the New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings. The Giants are +3 on the road. This is another game that I love. I love the Giants here as dogs. We just saw these teams play a couple weeks ago when the Giants were able to cover that spread. It was a +4. Giants lost by 3. Now we see the spread move in the direction of the Giants. The books are adjusting. They're showing you a little bit of strength towards the Giants, showing you that this is going to be a closer matchup. A close matchup. It was already close. It's going to be a close matchup. And I just think that the Giants have a lot of things going for them here. I would say that the Giants have the better coach. The Giants definitely have the better defense. Thibodeau is becoming just a star on that D-line. They're getting healthy at the right times. At the right time, they're more gritty than the Vikings. They're just a tougher team than the Vikings. The Vikings are a finesse team. Kirk Cousins is a fragile quarterback. I just like a lot about the Giants in this spot. I think they can come in there and keep this game close to the vest and just play it smarter than the Vikings and just eke out a win. I could really see that. I don't see Dable letting this get out of hand. He's just a coach that has really mastered the game on both sides. He coached defense, so he knows how to handle that and knows how to have those guys ready. But he's an offensive guru. We saw what he did for Josh Allen, and now we're seeing what he does for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a guy who I always thought was underrated as a passer, but who is definitely underrated as just an athlete. Like, Daniel Jones can run with the best of them. He's as fast as it gets at the quarterback position, with those long strides. He's a very tall guy. I think Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley being healthy, they're going to be able to just come up with some options, come up with some different schemes in the backfield where they're able to play it safe yet move up the chains. Minnesota just has a terrible defense. We've seen teams, particularly the NFC East, kind of dominate the Vikings. The Vikings are a very fraudulent 3 seed. I mean, when you look at these NFC East teams, they're very tough. They're very physical. We saw Dallas go into Minnesota. That's probably my favorite pick of the year is when I had the Cowboys going in there and whooping them. I was very confident in that pick, and the Cowboys took care of business there. Another pick that I liked a lot was the Commanders. Of course, the Commanders pushed in that game. But, depending on the line that you got, if you got it at the 3.5, the Commanders actually covered that game against the Vikings. So, they even against the Eagles, when the Vikings went and played against Philadelphia, the Eagles destroyed them in Philly. Giants, like I said, they covered a couple weeks ago against the Vikings. So the NFC East has just fared very well against the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings have shown that if you bully them and you're physical with them, you're getting pressure on Kirk Cousins. You're scoring on offense and forcing them to have to be aggressive and forcing Kirk Cousins to be put in positions where he can fumble the ball or can throw an interception and starts getting jittery and having to force stuff, and they don't just get to play in the flow of their play calling and the scripted plays that they have, because that's really when the Vikings are at their best. The Vikings are at their best when Kevin O'Connell can just dial it up for Kirk Cousins. When he can dial it up for him and just get Justin Jefferson in space, that's when the Vikings are like a really elite offense. But when you put them in those tougher scenarios, they really show you who they are, which is just a very lucky team. The Vikings are just an extremely lucky team. I think the Giants go in there and just bully them. I think Brian Dable goes in, and you see him when he's on the sideline. He got the chain. He got the hoodie. He's just an OG. I think he goes in there, and the Giants just bully the Vikings. I would take the Giants with the +3. I love the play. I think the Giants win this game outright. Honestly, I do. I think the Giants and the Jaguars as dogs win those games outright. But Giants right here with the +3. You definitely got to take that +3. A score for this game is kind of tough. I could see it being 27-24 like it was a few weeks ago. But this time the Giants coming out on top. So, maybe 27-24 Giants. Last 2 games, we got Sunday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens are at Cincinnati to face off against the Bengals. The Bengals are -9.5 at home. And this is a game that's just been the weirdest game of the week because of the whole quarterback dilemma. It looks like we're getting Tyler Huntley at quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. And with that being said, I really do like this 9.5. I mean, I don't think that the Ravens are going to win this game, so I wouldn't touch that money line, even though +370 for a divisional opponent is always interesting. It's always juicy, but The Ravens with Tyler Huntley, they're not going to go into Cincinnati and win, but at 9.5, they could keep this game close to the vest. John Harbaugh, he can keep this game close to the vest. He can make this interesting. You see the low total. The Ravens are just going to play smash mouth football. They're going to run the ball on Cincinnati. Cincinnati can stop the run, but the Ravens are just going to force the run, and eventually it's going to break out a little bit. They might get a big one. Huntley, he's not horrible, but I'm not going to try to even sell you guys on Huntley. He's not horrible, but that's all I could really say about Huntley. I can't really give out any compliments. He's a mobile quarterback, so they're just going to get some trickery going on. Cincinnati, they're on this big win streak and everything, but and they've been covering, but just how impressive is it? I feel like they've been playing with fire, and I don't like some of the things I've been seeing out of them, and their offensive line is banged up now. We see Joe Burrow, he kind of has that Brady where he's going to play this game smart and maybe not have the flashiest stat line or do the craziest things, but he's going to find a way to win this game and just make sure that the Bengals come out with a W. And because of Joe Burrow's play style, I actually think that plays into the Baltimore Ravens at plus 9.5. I think Burrow just makes sure that the Bengals win this game, but I think he does it in a way that kind of ensures that the Bengals don't cover this game. So Baltimore at 9.5 would be the play. I think Baltimore just makes this interesting, even has people who have Cincinnati on a teaser or on a money line parlay. I think he's going to have those people. The Ravens are going to have those people sweating bullets for the first 3 quarters. Eventually the Bengals break away, and Joe Burrow does what Joe Burrow does. He's Joe Cool. He's going to make the right passes, get them in field goal range. They win the game, or, seal it off with a touchdown and just put the nail in the coffin on the Ravens. They're on a big win streak against the Ravens. They beat them. Actually, they lost to the Ravens earlier this year, but they covered against the Ravens. And last year, I think they won and covered against the Ravens both times. I want to say they were blowouts. So this team has a lot of success against the Ravens ATS, but you guys got to keep in mind that's against Lamar, and that's on smaller spreads, on these bigger spreads that are just super inflated. We haven't seen the Bengals as big-time favorites like this against a team, even with Huntley. This is a respectable team. This is a team that has, a lot of talented players on both sides of the ball. Well, a lot of talented players on defense and Mark Andrews on offense. So give me the Ravens here to keep this game close. I don't like picks as much when I don't think the team can actually win. But if we're doing the professional thing, we are going to take Baltimore here. So I like Baltimore plus 9.5. I will be on that game. And the last game of the week, we got the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football squaring off against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are home dogs plus 2.5, but I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. I know everybody wants to fade the Cowboys because they're the Cowboys. I know everybody wants to take the Buccaneers because Brady is Brady, but the numbers don't lie. The Cowboys are a way, way better team than the Buccaneers. I just watched the Bengals. Speaking of the Bengals, I just watched the Bengals go into Tampa Bay as minus 3.5 favorites. They were down 17-0 to start the game, and they came back and covered against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Dallas Cowboys, I would power rate them if I had to. I would say this team is about just as good as the Bengals. I would even, call me crazy. I would kind of say that the Cowboys might even be a little better than the Bengals, just overall roster. But, of course, Joe Burrow over Dak. So maybe I'll take that statement back. Joe Burrow is a much better quarterback than Dak. But I just don't see it. I think everybody's kind of forcing this play. They're forcing the Tom Brady play. Oh, I got to take Tom Brady as a home dog. Oh, Tampa Bay's been playing better as of late. The Cowboys had a stinker the other week, last week against the Washington Commanders. But I want you guys to remember this. I want you guys to remember this when that game comes on Monday. And if they win in borderline blowout fashion, I want you guys to remember this. Dak Prescott, as much flack as I give him because he turns the ball over, he's always going to give the ball up 1 or 2 times to the other team. He's most likely going to throw an interception in this game. As much as I give him flack for that, the Cowboys usually always go on a 10-0 or 17-0 run at some point in a game. We saw it against the Vikings. We saw it against the Packers. We saw it against the Colts. I mean, we saw it against the Giants. Like, at some point in every game, the Cowboys usually just, we saw it against the Jaguars. I mean, they ended up losing some of these games, but my point is, at some point in the game, there's going to be a time where Dak just starts dealing it, especially against zones. He was like 21 for 21 against the Eagles' zone defense the other week, a couple weeks ago, Christmas Eve. And I just think that he's going to get hot at some point, and the Cowboys' offense is going to get hot, or the Cowboys' defense even is going to get an interception or a fumble, a game-turning play, and they're just going to feed off that momentum. And they're gonna go on a run. At some point in this game, they're gonna go on some type of run. They're gonna open it up a little bit of fast break. And I don't think Tom Brady and the boys really have enough to come back from that. Like, now they're saying that Tom Brady kind of took over the offense against Carolina the other week, and that's why the Bucs were able to put up more points, and he was slinging it a little bit more, going a little deeper, going deep to Mike Evans and stuff. And Mike Evans could definitely hurt the Cowboys. That secondary is starting to get banged up and everything. But I just think the Cowboys are the way better team here. And with the way better team and the way more consistent team, I have to take them. I have to take the Cowboys at -2.5. I'll be on an island. I'll be the only person who really does this betting shit who took the Cowboys this week. But I just have to do it. I have to fade Brady here. It just isn't his year. We're seeing it with all the OG quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. We're going to see it here with Tom Brady. It's just not their year. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, the young guys, even a Brock Purdy, the young guys are going to have something to say this postseason. It's not the year for the OGs. Tom Brady, you're going home after this. It's a good thing that this is a home game because you're going home after this game. And my last point, the Dallas Cowboys have been going on business trips all year long. Like, they went into Minnesota and they were on a business trip. You know what I'm saying? Like they are not a bad road team. They can win this game. Don't be fearful of what happened week one between these two teams. This is a totally different scenario. And even if you wanted to compare this game to the game earlier in the year, the line has completely flipped from back then when the Cowboys were home dogs. Now you're getting the Cowboys as a road favorite, showing you just how much Vegas thinks the Cowboys have improved since the start of the year and just how bad the Buccaneers have gotten over the course of the season. And a lot of professional bettors have been taking the Buccaneers all year. I said it from the very jump. I said that the Buccaneers were not going to be a good home team this year. We saw Green Bay go in there and beat them. We saw Patrick Mahomes, and we took Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs Sunday night to beat them. This Buccaneers team at home, man, they're just not that impressive. They don't cover. They don't win. Professional bettors have been losing money all year long trying to back the Buccaneers. We never fell for it. We didn't believe in the Buccaneers from the start. It was just very concerning what I saw from them in week one. And since then, I was just in fade mode with Tampa Bay. So in this spot, I have to do what I've been doing all year. I got to take the Cowboys and I got to fade the Buccaneers. So once again, Wildcard Weekend, I like the Jacksonville Jaguars plus the 2.5. I like the New York Giants plus 3. I like the Baltimore Ravens plus 9.5. And I like the Dallas Cowboys minus 2.5. 3 dogs. Let's see, 2 of them on the road and 1 home dog, and then I like 1 road favorite. Those are the top 4 plays on a 6-game slate for Wildcard Weekend. I will be going official with these 4 picks. Like, I'm 99% sure these are going to be the 4 picks for Wildcard Weekend. I don't think I'm going to end up getting there on the 2 games that I mentioned, Seahawks, Niners, and Bills, Dolphins. I don't think I'm going to get there on either game. But make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram so you guys can see what I end up going official on. I also post NBA picks every single day on my Twitter and Instagram. So check those out if you guys want to get in on the NBA picks from my NBA guys. But that's it on that. Good luck to everybody betting games this weekend. Until next time, peace.